find a few to put together.
The other night, I was sitting with Joe and Joanne, and really, I'm ready to go back. I mean, it was so terrific. I would really be ready to go back.
I think, I'm not sure if he's doing that or he's just focusing.
Oh, okay.
You do have to talk tonight.
Before beginning with some thoughts I'd like to share with you, I'd first like to thank Lori Saddleberger and Mrs. Rickmeyer for these wonderful programs that they put together for us. Lori is a student in the graphic arts program and spent a good bit of time working on this, and it's really appreciated. Before I forget, I'd also like to thank Glenn Cohen for all of the time and energy and effort that he's put into this project from beginning to end, and very much appreciated. I would like to welcome our Irish and American students, supervisors from the Wider Horizon program, host families, faculty and administration, and members of our community to the first and perhaps annual Irish Commencement program at Sussex County Vocational Technical School. As we prepare for one of our most meaningful holidays, there is much that I personally am thankful for. First and foremost, there are our shop teachers and host families. Through their time, patience, sharing, and concern, our students from Ireland were provided the needed support not just to survive, but thrive, not just to exist for 3 months, but to be changed, some profoundly so. I'm thankful and very proud of our American students. I know how difficult it was for you to welcome someone into your homes, to share in many cases your rooms, your television sets, your prized possessions, your time, and perhaps most importantly, your parents, with someone who at first was a total stranger. I am thankful and grateful for the supervisors who came with these young people, who gave unstintingly of their time and provided the critical link between our two cultures and countries, and also who probably know the county road system better than all of us put together at this point. They will be missed on a professional and a personal level by many in our school. I'm also thankful for our school and the people who administer it, who dare to be different, to take risks, to welcome the extraordinary in order that all of our lives might become enriched. Never once was I caused to feel that this project was a burden, but rather a delight, and I am proud to be counted as a member of this faculty and would wish to be nowhere else. I'm thankful for the larger community and how interested and responsive they were to this program. The generosity from businesses such as Condit Ford will not soon be forgotten and forever appreciated on both sides of the Atlantic. But perhaps I take the most pride and am most thankful for the success of our Irish students. All have achieved great things both in a relative and an objective sense. There are David Constantine, Mike Shannon, and Patrick Roach, who not only earned high degrees in welding, but national certifications as well. Anne-Marie Hayes, who earned a well-deserved 95 in dance and gave an equally exemplary performance in culinary arts. Sandra Wright, who received a 95 in cosmetology and gained a successful experience in a non-traditional shop. She was in our carpentry shop. Peter Howe, Aaron Johnson, and Mark Hamill, who not only performed exceedingly well in their shops, but participated in track and football as well. And I might add that Peter and Aaron are going to be running in a race Saturday morning, the same day they're leaving for Ireland, and hopefully we'll get them back to the bus in time. If not, their host families may be seeing them again. Shane McClellan, Stephen Kerr, and Simon Hamill, who along with Aaron and Mark did quite well in their shops, also found time to paint the entire modular home inside from one end to the other, which is a lasting contribution to their shop and to our school. I'd like to recognize Denise McBride, who was able to measure up to Mrs. N's exacting and demanding standards. Jillian Donahue and Lynn Henry, who not only excelled in cosmetology, but also took on a new field, graphic arts, and were successful. Tony Malloy, who handled her shop and time in the daycare center with enthusiasm and dedication. And Josie Maloney, who received a rare compliment from Mr. Gubinas, who called her, and I quote, a very hard worker. Linda Hughes, who Marge Harris commented she'd like a dozen of in her dance shop, also graced us with her talents in cosmetology as well. And Stephen Burgess, for whom the day was definitely not made long enough. He devoured opportunities both at Votech and at Condit Ford, and I'm concerned that Mr. Harnett will hide his passport to keep him here. I will not attempt to list all of their accomplishments. Each has achieved so much on so many levels. But I hope we have begun to instill in our Irish students a sense of empowerment, a belief in themselves that will lead to a more successful and fulfilling future. If collectively we have helped even one of these special young people to believe in their ability to shape their own destiny, then we have succeeded. As I walked through the school this past Friday, the last day for the trainees, I saw the glow of pride on their faces as they learned of their vocational successes in their shops. I passed shop rooms where farewell parties were going on, including Mr. Kasorik's famous pizza bash. Pictures and addresses were being exchanged, gifts given, and tears being shed. I heard plans being made for return and reciprocal visits, and I realized that although this experience has touched us in so many ways, perhaps it has touched us most profoundly in our hearts. I'd like to thank all of you for what has been a very special time for myself and my family, and for this tremendous opportunity. And may you all have a safe and wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you. I'd like to introduce Bill Rooney. Mr. Rooney is our superintendent of schools, and he's going to say a few words.
Actually, I was third. Two now. I was watching a football game this past Saturday. I thought, how appropriate. I watched the Fighting Irish beat Penn State. And as the game went on, of course, the Fighting Irish were doing an outstanding job. But it turned, and of course, Penn State, in the last few minutes, last seconds actually of the game, beat Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish. And I thought about it for a while, and I realized that listening to the coach about it and explain the defeat, he took it with a tremendous amount of pride, and so did the entire football staff that really were interviewed. And it's pride in the opportunity to play on such a team. Be it that team or a professional team, they took that personal. It was a loss that they gave up, but they're willing to go on, and I'm sure next Saturday put another 110%. To do the best that they have in their team and within their bodies to beat up-and-coming team. And I know we have 18 students from Ireland. You had an opportunity to come to America. You had an opportunity to come to Sussex County Votech. I hope you take this opportunity, the skills that you've learned, while they may feel small at this particular time, take them home with you. And remember the opportunity that was given to you, so when you, in turn, can give someone else an opportunity, you share it with them. Life's too short, we forget too often. And I hope that this trip is one that will hold for you not only a lifetime, but a lifetime for others to share with you. I wish all of you the best of luck, and for the host families, truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Principal, and I can't believe that it has been 12 weeks since I saw 18 very weary travelers walked away off the bus in a trance at the Hudson Guild Farm, come into dinner, have dinner, and leave without having ice cream. It's been a marvelous 12 weeks, a marvelous 3 months, in getting around and visiting the shops that you were in. It seemed like you became part of the Votech family. In seeing you with other students, and I could hardly pick you out. Thank God you said something, so that I know who the Irish students were. You seem to blend so well. Truly, the progress that you've made in adapting to Sussex County Votech, some of the comments that I heard when you first arrived was your amazement at the physical plant here at Sussex County Vocational School, how big it was and how massive the area was. That's an adjustment. To get over being away from home and homesickness over the first couple of weeks must have been, and I know it must have been a very hard ordeal for you, but you did it. You got over it. I liken these 12 weeks for you as being away when I was in boot camp for 12 weeks. Probably had many of the same similarities for you. You adjusted well to your host families and your host families to you, and we owe them a great deal of thanks for having the Irish students into your homes. Thank you. I'd like to thank Dr. Maisel also, who you've had to adapt to, but overall he's done an outstanding job. The teachers that you adapted to, you've done an outstanding job adapting to them, and for the teachers to adapt to you and bring you into their classes. At probably the busiest time of the year, the most hectic time of the year, when we just start school. You've hopefully grown quite a bit by being here. We certainly have grown by having you here. Sussex Vocational School is a happier place because of you. I hope that this experience, this part of your life, will bring you good memories, marvelous memories of the times that you spent here. It certainly will for us. As you return to your homeland, I'd like you to take something with you, something that I have tried to live by, an example of the kind of thought that I have when approaching any new situation. And I'd like to read it to you now. And it says, "Press on. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than an unsuccessful man with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education alone will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. The best of luck. Thank you for sharing this time with us."
Mr. Schofield, are you here somewhere?
On behalf of the athletic department at Sussex Votech, I want to extend my appreciations to the young men who participated in our programs this year. We learned an awful lot. At the beginning, we learned an awful lot of red tape. We had a gentleman Dr. Mizell, who wouldn't let up. Every day we met and made phone calls down to Trenton. We almost got to know the gentleman in Trenton by first name. We called him so many times. But Dr. Mizell would not let up. And finally, everyone was declared eligible that we could get through the state. And at this time, what I would like to do is to call up Mr. Larry Clough, our head cross-country coach.
Thank you very much. The coaches who preceded me here at Tech started a winning tradition here that went on for over almost 2 decades, and I've been fortunate enough in the last 4 years to have the runners come to our school that allowed us to continue that tradition. This year, 1990, with 5 runners graduating from last year's team and only 2 experienced runners returning, I thought would be a rebuilding year. And when a coach says rebuilding year, that's a gentle way of telling the people who care about such things that you aren't going to do so well. Well, it turns out that our rebuilding happened rather quickly with Aaron Johnston and Peter Hout joining our team. Would you come forward, please? Come stand by me. Historically, in track and field and distance running, Ireland and the United Kingdom have produced a long series of world-class runners, and that tradition in those countries is continuing till this very day. When you look at these 2 young men, it's obvious they look like runners, and when they got into the first practice and ran along with our number 1 and number 2 runners, I saw that our rebuilding was happening rather more quickly than I had thought it would. And I began to have visions of that elusive, perfect season. As it was a bit more elusive than I would have liked, and we finished the season with a 7-win, 3-loss record, okay? And we were allowed to go down in Tech history along with some of our other great teams. In the first meet we ran, with Aaron and Peter, we ran against Warren Tech on an away course, one that we weren't at all familiar with, and we swept the first 6 places. Aaron and Peter being in the top 4 with 2 of our other runners, and those 4 runners were 11 seconds apart, running the 3.1 miles in a bit over 18 minutes. Okay? From that point on, I knew that they would make a great contribution to our program, and that our season would be a good one. There's 1 meet left to run, and that's on Saturday morning. It's the United States Eastern Regional Championships, which our school will be running in for the first time. It includes the entire northeast quadrant of the United States, all states west of the Mississippi River and north of North Carolina. There'll be hundreds of runners. And they'll be wearing the green and gold along with 4 of our other runners representing our school. I would like to, at this point, and I'll see them again on Saturday morning, and we'll say our goodbyes then, but I would like to publicly thank them for coming and doing such a good job and working hard and being part of our team. I'll think of you often, and I'll always remember you. Thank you very much. My thanks also to Denise McBride, stand please, Denise, who did some of our paperwork for us. Jillian, Sandra, Lynn, and Linda, stop around and see me, okay?
And our second coach that I would like to introduce is Mr. Orville Jackson, head football coach. Mark Hamill, would you come up here, please? My assistant coach, Mr. Arbor, didn't get introduced here, so I'd like to introduce him right now. Well, coaching football was a real experience this year for us. We came in the season a little bit late, but we had a real good time. The first day out there, Mark came up on the field, and he came over and he talked. And said, "Want to hit? Want to get?" Said, "Mr. Arbor, will you translate that for me, please?" So he said, "Yeah." He said, "The kid wants to kick." He says, "And he's a hitter." I said, "Oh, we got a football team." Well, unfortunately, we've only had him for a short time. But what's going to really stick in my mind is the last football game we played was against a team where they had a real good running back, and we didn't want to kick the ball to this kid. So Mark came up and says, "What do you want me to kick it, Coach?" But he didn't say that. It was, Mr. Harvey came over and explained to me. It's okay. I said, "Try and kick it away from this kid if you can." Well, he not only kicked it away from the kid, he put it through the end zone. So that was a real experience for me. I'm never going to forget that. Thank you very much, Mark. We got a few gifts here. Football, the entire team signed it, and the coaches. Mark? Sussex Tech practice jersey. And his game jersey you can take back to Ireland and wear proudly. Thank you very much.
Before we sit down, Mark did carry the ball one time. We put in one play. It took us 4 weeks to get him to understand it. And he was convinced that it was going to be a touchdown as soon as he got the ball. Unfortunately, somebody forgot to block, and when he did touch the ball, I think it was a 6-yard loss. He came off the field shaking his head and said, "Didn't work, didn't work." And Mark, we'd like you to come up again, please. Just get your varsity letter and your varsity pin. Our varsity players will get their awards at our ceremony, but he won't be here, so I'd like to give him his award letter now.
At this time, we'd like to present the certificates and proficiencies. First, we'd like to call up the exploratory teachers. Those are the teachers that, that had the higher students in for an exploratory in that area. Mr. Fred Harnett, Agricultural Occupations. Steve Burgess.
It took me a long time to find out what he was saying, but it's really been a pleasure to have Steve working here. I have 2 certificates for Steve. One is in agribusiness and horticulture, mainly in landscaping and greenhouse maintenance. And this is the part where I want to keep him here. I'd love to keep him here for to keep all of my horticultural and ag power mechanics equipment, the tractors and the mowers, going. And he receives a certificate in ag power mechanics, small engines use and maintenance. Thanks.
Mrs. Eileen Clement, Computer Science.
get a certificate in proficiencies for computer science. Aaron was a real hard worker, and we miss him already. He hasn't been in class the last couple of days, and it's just really not the same. There's a hole there. So we'll miss you a lot, and it's been a real treat.
Child care, Mrs. Lorensky. Blonsky, I'm sorry. I don't have my glasses on.
This is Antoinette Malloy, and I'm Mary Ann Lonsky, and we were with the little people at Votech. That is, I'm in child care. And Tony, as we called her nickname, which was easy, much easier than Antoinette, I think, right, for the little ones to pronounce, was wonderful. I think you finally found a spot that you enjoyed. You think so? I think so. Well, they certainly enjoyed you. They're already asking, where's Tony? Where's Tony? All day. This is the lady, where's Tony? See, it's like being home with children. When you're home, they kind of take you for granted. But as soon as you leave, they notice you're missing. See? So we miss you already. And Tony was equally as good with the babies as the preschoolers. She wasn't afraid of getting her hands dirty. She dug in. She glued pictures with them, painted with them, read with them, Play-Doh. Did you have Play-Doh under your fingernails? I think so, yes. And we thoroughly enjoyed her. She was a joy to have. And I'm glad to meet you. It was a nice little bit of Ireland in our room. We will miss you. I think from what you said to us that you had a lot of good experiences here. And like I say, the kids are already asking. We had a little bit of trouble explaining to them that when Tony goes home, she has to take a plane. Everyone takes cars. That's it. Nobody takes a plane to their house. But we're getting there. We're getting there. We brought the globe in, and we're trying to get this together. But we really enjoyed you. We wish you a safe trip home. I hope you have a lot of good memories. I think you do.
For dance, Miss Marge Harris. Now I'm going to ask Mrs. Harris to pronounce your last name.
Sabera, Madame Sabera. To you. I was very fortunate this year to have Linda Hughes and Anne Marie. Where are you? Hayes, would you stand up and come on up? The world is truly one place, with these young ladies moving for 3 periods nonstop. There is learning going on in our room, by the way, when you see them bouncing around the walls. They were truly remarkable. Linda had proficiencies in ballet and modern and jazz technique, as well as in composition. I'm not only amazed because she's a special person on and off stage, but because of her ability and talent in the field. I do hope that she chooses to go on if she can. Anne Marie. Anne Marie's a marvel. Part of our studies involve problem solving. And they have to take one idea and explore it for 45 minutes straight. Long after people are frustrated, you'll find Anne Marie still working. I truly will miss both of them.
And for graphic arts, Mrs. Cynthia Rickmeyer.
Well, I would like to see Jillian and Lynn up here now. These two ladies have performed outstandingly in the field of graphic arts, and their co-students love them so much that we will be sending them homework periodically throughout the year. And we would also like to present them with giant cards that the students made to wish them luck on their trip back home. Do you have anything to say?
Well, they were a pleasure to have. I wish every student I could duplicate into these two young ladies. They performed outstandingly, and we just finished printing holiday cards for them, and they're beautiful. So I'd like to give them a hand because they performed.
We'd like to get into the major programs and award the certificates and the proficiencies. Would Mr. Myers and Mr. Fredericks please come up for auto diesel?
As Mr. Myers and Mr. Frederick come up, I just would like to explain to folks what people are going to be getting. These books contain a number of very important documents: transcripts, official school transcripts, a generic letter of recommendation for employment, certificates of completion, and all of the proficiencies that were completed while these youngsters were here.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to sit back down because Dr. Mizell just took my whole speech. At this time, I'd like to call up Stephen Burgess. While Stephen's coming up, I had the pleasure to have Steve in the auto diesel mechanics program, and Stephen came here with one thing in mind. He wanted to be a mechanic. He would do everything in his power to be a mechanic. In so much as he went out and he found a part-time job. I don't know whether I'm stealing somebody else's speech, but Stephen also worked at a part-time job at Condit Ford. So this is the type of young man that came into the program. Stephen, the best thing I can say to you, sir, is I wish we had a dozen of you. Thank you, sir.
A few minutes ago, Mr. Carmen said that the Irish students adapted to the way of life when they came over here. In the case of Stephen and the auto service shop, Stephen adopted us. He walked in, he was not scheduled to be with me. He walked in and said, "I'd like to be in your shop." He had been there daily helping Mr. Harnett, so it was not easy, not a hard thing for me to say. It was very easy to have him come in. I just want to thank him for what he gave us and gave my students in my shop for the few weeks that he did spend with us. Thank you.
Would Mr. Walter Gasor come up, please, for carpentry?
Okay, the students that I had in carpentry for majors, if they would come up here, please. Mark Hamill, Simon Hamill, Aaron Johnston, and Sheehan McQuillan. I'd also like to call up some of the people that I had for the exploratories. If you would come up, please. David Constantine, Peter Hout, Patrick Roach, Michael Shannon, and Sandra Wright. The people that I had in the exploratory shop decided they wanted to make a little project, which I have over here and I will hand out to the students. It was a nice project because it was a joint project, not only between the American students, but between the Irish students. And they proved one thing, that all these people that you see standing in front of you, they have basically the same desires, the same wants, and the same feelings that our students have. And we had quite a good time with them. There's one other person I would like to come up because he did contribute to the shop, Stephen Kerr. If you would, come up please. Steve also helped the people that did the house, the majors that worked in the house. They painted, they helped sheetrock the house. Stephen asked if he could come and volunteer and also help paint the house, which they did a real nice job on. And hopefully pretty soon you people will see the house and be able to walk through it when we auction it off or sell it. And I'd like to thank everybody that's up here, and I'd like to give them each a cassette tape holder that we did manage to get finished for these students. And I'd just like to thank them all, and it was a lot of fun, and it was very enjoyable. Thank you.
I guess you'll need another suitcase now.
Mrs. Lisa Myers for Commercial Foods.
Good evening. I'm also filling in for Mr. Gabinas, who was unable to attend this evening, and he taught commercial baking. We had 7 very interesting and wonderful students in both the culinary foods and the baking department. It took a while to get used to having 4 Irish brogues in the kitchen first thing in the morning. I'll tell you, it was like, wait a minute, slow down. You're talking too fast. I'm the only one allowed to talk too fast in the kitchen. You got to keep up with me. A couple times, what'd you say? Anne Marie is a doll, but she spoke so quiet I could never hear her. And in the kitchen with all the pots and the pans and the students coming through for lunch, you couldn't hear a thing. You know, we're loud in the kitchen, you have to be just to survive. And there was little Anne Marie just plugging along very quietly. And I had some other wonderful, Antoinette, I could always hear. No problem whatsoever. Josie, she was always fine. And Mr. Kerr, once I got used to his brogue, we had no problem. If those 4 individuals will please come up, Anne Marie, Antoinette, Josie, and Stephen. I can tell you from both Mr. Gavinas and myself, we're going to miss the 4 of you tremendously. It's been a great contribution in the kitchen. We had a lot of fun. We also did some yelling and screaming, but that's half the fun of being in the kitchen and in the bake shop. I'd like to give you your proficiencies. Anne-Marie? Josie? In addition to those 4 individuals, I also had, and Mr. Gavinas as well, had some exploratory students. Mark Hamill, Simon Hamill, Stephen, all right, he was up here already, Shane and Josie. Okay, they also were exploratory as well as our main shops, but if Mark and Simon and Shane would please come up. I'll tell you, these guys ate enough here. They're not going to be hungry for a month when they get home. I said, didn't you eat before you came? I never saw a gentleman eat and talk. Girl, don't ever tell you you're Gabby when you've got these 3 guys in the kitchen, man. You couldn't get a word in edgewise. I had to come up. No, stop talking. We got to do class now. But it was a great pleasure. I loved having every one of them in there. I got used to the Irish, except I agree with OJ. Mark, what'd you say? But they were wonderful gentlemen. We're truly going to miss you, and I hope you had a nice visit with us. I hope you learned some cooking and baking skills that you can use for the rest of your lives. It was a great pleasure.
Mrs. Eileen Arfrey.
I'd like to call up the 4 young ladies that I had in my class this semester: Jillian, Lynn, Linda, and Sandra. These young ladies came to us this year with some experience in cosmetology. They were all in school in Ireland, and Sandra is working in the field as well. So they all came to me with a lot of talent. Our biggest feat was to figure out exactly where we all were. I had them doing some hand skills that they don't do there, and it was kind of strange, and we made it through that. The nicest part about the whole program is not that you're all 4 lovely young ladies, but I feel like I have 4 new friends.
For information processing, Mrs. Susan Mekanetsky. Mrs. Ed.
I'd like to call up Denise McBride and Peter Howe. These 2 individuals are really going to be missed. I had, and so did the kids in my shop, a wonderful, wonderful experience this last 12 weeks. We miss them these 3 days that they haven't been here. It's been like, I don't know, somebody left, never coming back. They've brought some experiences with them. We worked with those, what we had, we built on them. They do a little things differently. I will admit that the first week I was saying yes to Denise when I had no idea what she was saying. It was easier saying yes. We got over some differences in language. Peter came in a couple days later. It was a joy to have. I have another male student. As you know, my field isn't one where you always, I get them in my evening classes, but not so much in the day classes because they're a little leery of joining shop, which they feel is female dominated. My one male student is devastated that Peter is leaving, because at least he had someone with him to back him up all this time. We will miss you terribly, and that is the absolute, utter truth.
And in welding, Mr. Richard Dixon.
I don't know, do I really need the mic? All right. I'll give it, put it right here. Well, first of all, Dave Considine, Pat Roche, Mike Shannon, you want to come up, please? Boys in the shop called Dave Ray. I wonder why. And he was also the translator. The other 2 were just Babylon, and instead of looking and saying, "What'd you say, excuse me?" I just look across to Dave, and then Dave would translate it, which was nice. We got along great. And then we started to weld. And over the course of hours, not time, but hours, I approached him and said, "Look, you can be certified if you want to put the time in and go for it." And after the hours clicked off, they went for it. And in short, when you see tears run down a young man's face because the test piece gets put in a 50-ton press and it snaps like a pretzel, what do? You go back and do it again. They passed. They are now registered with the American Welding Society as being superstructural 7018 LH flat and vertical welders, which anywhere in the United States they can go. I hope that they can take it back to Ireland and do the same. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. achievements, accomplishments, and their copy, the original. I have my copy of the American Welding Society, their specifications and qualifications. When they get back to Ireland, they can take this, Xerox it, and turn it into any welding shop, and they can go for it. Gentlemen, good luck.
We thought it would be nice to hear from not only our staff, but also from our American host families and their children and some of the trainees, so that they might share their perspective on what this experience was like. So I'd like to call up Mr. and Mrs. Millar. Oh, you forgot about this, didn't you? Oh, no, I meant you too.
Okay. Well, first of all, this is good. We have 3 of us. If I can get upset today, I can carry on. It's been really a pleasure to have Peter in our home. I was talking about when we first were called on the phone by Dr. Mazow, some of the things that we wanted to, well, when he asked us, I said, well, I have a couple of questions that concern me. One of them was, what if he didn't like us? What would we do? What would he do? He answered my question on that. And another thing is we're a church-oriented family, so that's important to us. And we're Protestants, so I said that's important to us, and for him also. So that was another one. And the other one was, did he like sports? Because our family is also sports-minded. So he said, well, let me look down the list. And he said, well, how's Presbyterian? I said, that's fine. And he's going out for football. Well, that's even better, but does he know what football is? Well, we'll see. So he came. We met him. First thing, I was wondering what he's going to call us. And, well, we're going to, of course, we're going to call him Peter. And he said to us, what do you want me to call you? And I said, well, he said, Mom, Dad. And I said, well, why don't you wait? Just wait and see how comfortable you are in our home. I couldn't picture him calling me Aunt Carol or Mrs. Millar. I didn't know what I was going to call him Pete. And so anyway, I don't think it took too long, and he gave me the pleasure of calling me Mom. And soon after, he called my husband Dad, which I thought was really a good honor. Our first scrimmage, Peter came, and my one other son was with us. And it was like when the 3 teams were together for the scrimmage. One fellow from the team, how long do I have?
You're on a roll.
Okay, one fellow from the team got hurt, I guess. So Peter said, what's wrong with him? I said, well, maybe he's mad. Maybe Coach hollered at him, he's on the side. And after a while, the kid took his helmet off, took his shirt off, and I said, Pete, I think he hurt his neck or his shoulder or something. So then Daniel, I guess they got talking, and they went over to see Mr. Clover. And so we did more of his chosen sport was track. And I tried to make a lot of his track teams, but it's only like 18 minutes, and it's kind of hard to go such far away. So the home games I do try to come to. But I cannot express it. Thanks from all of us. It's been really a pleasure.
I got told that I was going to come up here and talk, and I wrote down just a few things about like what we did and like things that we'll probably end up remembering. So I'll just like go down the list and tell you exactly what. Okay, first thing to remember is the rainy trips, the times of Washington, and then walking up the Statue of Liberty singing Hey Jude and getting half the place to sing Hey Jude. Our great trip to Bronx Zoo, sorry, Space Farms, okay, all the trips to the malls all over the place, playing softball during the first week that they were here and like trying to teach them how to play softball. plan trips that we never end up going to, but going other places, but you know, we still had a good time and stuff like that. Our bus guide that we had during the Washington trip, we'll probably remember because we really didn't enjoy him. And I don't think he enjoyed us either, so that kind of, okay, and you know, just that right. Probably, most of all, we'll probably remember the friends from, just the friends, you know, well, that they'll have for the rest of our lives.
And we'd like if Mrs. Kanata would come up and join us.
Dr. Maisel asked me to say a few words, and so late one night I decided to write something down, and well, here goes. September 5th, 1990, a young Irish man and an American family were not totally cognizant of what they were about to embark on, and are still not aware of how the past 3 months have affected their lives. Simon Hamill was open to a new adventure, but didn't realize that he had to cope with the day-to-day dynamics of a family quite different from his own. The fast-paced food, geographic setting, values, lifestyle, strange pets were all quite foreign, to say the least. But cope he did. Somehow Simon found the courage to endure, adjust, and even enjoy himself. In addition to becoming part of the Kanata household, he fostered a friendship with Danny, a neighborhood friend, and Chris and Solveig, John's aunts and uncle and next-door neighbor. The Kanata's lives were also changed. We were now having a full breakfast meal rather than the catch as catch can, now that Simon was with us. Mr. Kanata's culinary skills proved more than adequate in this regard. I'm sure Simon will attest to that. He enjoyed doing it, and now both boys were eating a good meal before they went off, something John rarely did. But the most wonderful benefit this family received was in seeing each other share. John Sr. chauffeured the boys here, there, and everywhere, cooked many meals designed for the Irish palate, and enjoyed kidding with this charming, witty young man. Michelle came home from college several times during Simon's stay and enjoyed baking cookies and having long discussions with John and Simon. Michelle happily sublet her room to Simon, and when home, either slept at Chris and Solveig's next door or used the old couch with no hassle. John shared his attention, family, friends, and himself indeed, and he did it willingly and enthusiastically. I don't mean to paint a perfect picture. Every moment was not perfect. However, I believe that all of us, Simon and the Kanatas, have benefited a great deal from this experience. We were challenged, we worked through our hard parts, and enjoyed the fun. Thank you, VOTEC and Wider Horizons, for selecting us and guiding us through our Irish-American experience.
If Sandra Wright, Stephen Kerr, and David Considine, would you come up? Y'all set?
Well, my name's Sandra, and most people will know here that I've been here for 3 months at VOTEC, and I've been living in New Jersey. I feel, and it's the feeling of the group, that we are all very lucky, and we've been given the experience of a lifetime to come to America and spend 3 months with everybody. The group was selected by interviews in June. Then in August, the groups from the north and the south met for the first time in Belfast, and again in Ennis before we left. The purpose of these residentials were to prepare us for our trip and to get to know each other better and to form one group rather than two separate. When we arrived in America, it was all very different from home and what we had expected, and everybody in the group, I am sure, has had to make changes in their lifestyle compared to home. We have nearly ended our trip and we have enjoyed ourselves thoroughly. As a group and as individuals, we have all learned a lot through VOTEC and of course families and friends we have made during our stay. It has been a great experience and it will benefit us whenever we go back to look for jobs after we finish our training. I will now hand over to Stephen who will carry on.
Thanks, Sandra. As Sandra said, today I'm Stephen Kerr. I'm from the 7 Towers Workshop, Ballymena, in Northern Ireland. I'm up here to talk about host families and the experiences that I've had when we came to America. First of all, I'd like to say thanks to all the host families for putting up with all of us, not just me, but with the rest of the group. I'm sure it was a big burden to take someone on for 3 months in such a short time, and probably a lot of responsibility too, and I'm sure me and the rest of the group appreciate that. I had a great experience when we came to America. I will be sorry to go home because I've made a lot of friends. I think I will miss a lot of people. I've had a great time and it will benefit me in the future. I'll hand on to David now.
First of all, I would like to thank everybody with anything to do with this whole exchange, and we'll start by thanking. Speak up. All right. I'd like to start off by thanking Dr. Mazel for everything he has done. Without him, this thing wouldn't be possible. He's really been the backbone of this whole exchange. A lot of credit is due to Mr. Mazel. Also, would like to thank the workshop teachers for what they've done for us. They stuck with us for 3 months. Sure, it wasn't easy for them to take students into regular classes and show more importance to them for not the other students. But just in general, to overall, to everybody and anybody with anything got to do with this trip, thanks.
Just when people thought they were getting comfortable sitting down again, we'd like at this time to present a commemorative gift that Mr. Palladini's shop managed to manufacture for us in record time. Mr. Lombardo is going to help me with this. Why don't we hold one up, first of all? Serve some useful purpose. I might also add that the t-shirt, the sweatshirt says Sussex VOTEC Wider Horizons Program, and there's a Celtic design that Mr. Palladini came up with. While Mr. Lombardo is here, he's not often comfortable being in the public spotlight, but I would like to publicly thank him for really encouraging me to get on with this project. When Dr. McGlue, Harold McGlue, who's here somewhere, first came to me with this project, and I looked it over, and I went to Bob and I said, well, Bob, what do you think? He said, sure, no problem. And that really got us on our way. And that's, again, indicative of how things work around here, which pleases me no end, but I just want to express my appreciation for you helping me out with this, this adventure. If we could get all of the host youngsters and all of the trainees up here all at once, please, right now. I would be manager for the 7 Towers Workshop. And think that the main reason that Colin has come here is to play golf with Drew, but he won't admit that. But in fact, Colin is running a workshop with, I think, approximately 180 trainees now. His workshop was the main impetus behind this project, and I believe they invited the Southern Workshop to participate. Representing the Southern Workshop is Claire Tyne. Who has been with us for 6 weeks and has struggled through this heroically. And I'm going to leave them to make the final presentations.
Well, good evening. First of all, could I say that it is a great pleasure to be back again in Sparta. I can cast my mind back till June of this year, whenever Father Sean Sexton, Tina Burt, Kim Alexander, these are names that probably a lot of you remember, and myself came over to initiate this project. The project, as Dr. Mazel has already said, started off back in March of '90 over a few phone calls. And suddenly it was no length of time until the trainees were selected in July. And suddenly, without much further time, Dr. Mazel was over in Ireland to meet the trainees. There's a lot that I had intended to say here tonight. And probably I'm not doing justice to the project and trying to bring it to a close as early as possible, because I do appreciate that people have spent time and have journeyed here tonight, and it's a tremendous effort, and I'm very, very pleased to see such a response here tonight. So I thank all of you that have attended here tonight. I honestly feel that the people that are to be congratulated the most, and there has been a host of congratulations done tonight, is actually the trainees themselves. Because if one had have asked me originally what I had wanted out of the programme, it was really for the trainees to actually survive the 12 weeks. I honestly feel that they have achieved more than that, and much more. And the last 2 days we've spent doing an evaluation of the programme, and I am just delighted with the progress that has actually happened in Sparta. So it says a lot for all the administrators within the school here, and particularly to all the teachers. At this stage, actually, I'm going to have a nice, easy evening, because I'm going to hand you over. We have a few gifts to leave with you. And I'd like to hand you over to the MS representative here tonight from the Republic of Ireland, Claire Tyne.
On behalf of the Seven Towers Workshop and the Innocent Centre, I'd like to present to the school the Book of Kells. And just to explain to everybody what the Book of Kells is about, it's a manuscript done by the monks in Ireland back in the 8th century, and it's of the 4 Gospels. And it's one of our most national treasures, and we want you to have it. And we hope that it can find some place in your library. Okay? Of the 20 people that have been here, just in case you all you forget it. And I hope it's hung up somewhere in the school as well, okay? I'd like to call on Mr. John Matthews of Condon as well, please. Just to let you know, Mr. Matthews is from Condon and they kindly gave us a car for our 3 months here, and they gave it to us for free, and without it we would have been lost. We would never have gotten around Sparta. And I want to present to you also a photograph of the group, so that you will always remember this as well. And thank you so much for everything you've done for us. Okay? Thank you. I'll hand it back to Paul.
Okay, we have a few gifts for the various shop teachers, and I can pronounce most of the names actually, but I'll have a go. And actually about a week ago, whenever I first arrived here, I was over in the student centre, and one of the trainees said to me, I'm going down to Norris, Cynthia Rickmeyer, Eileen Arbery, and Mrs. N. Mr. G, Mr. Harnett, Mr. Myers, Richard Dixon, and oh, there's another one, Gazero. Please, could they come up also? Thank you. You know, one of the things that I would like to think is that for by the seriousness of the project and the good that has come out of it, there has been a certain amount of humour. And I would like to leave you with a little joke. It's an Irish joke, I hope you appreciate it. It's a Northern Ireland joke. Very topical. 3 people out in the Iraq desert were caught. One was an American, the other one was an Irishman, and one was an Englishman. They were brought to Saddam Hussein's palace, and the 3 of them asked for their release. So Saddam said, "Yes, I'll give you release, provided you can sing a song." So they thought, okay, and Saddam said, "But you have to have the word dog in it." So Paddy, the Englishman, jumped up and started, "How much is your doggy in the window?" Very good, he was released. Paddy, the American, got up, and I hope you all can remember Elvis Presley, because he went, "You ain't nothing but a hound dog." Okay. So Paddy, the American, was released. So little Paddy, the Irishman, jumped up, and he went, "Strangers in the night, exchanging glances, wandering in the night." And Saddam said, "Hold it, Paddy, hold it. What about the dog?" And Paddy says, "You didn't give me time to finish." And he went, "Scooby, Scooby Doo, oh Scooby Doo Doo." Good night. It's not good night. I have one last final chore to do. It's not a chore, it's a pleasure. Seriously, folks, there's been a lot of hard work, time, energy expended in this program. I don't think anybody has put any more energy into it than Dr. Richard Mazzell, and I would like to leave Dr. Richard Mazzell with just a little bit of Ireland. So, Richard. There we go. Map of Ireland.
That concludes this evening's activities. We want to wish everyone a very safe trip, a very, very safe trip for all of our Irish students back home. Thank you so much for coming. On behalf of Sussex County Vocational Technical School, good night.